Hey guys! Welcome to the adventures.
Whee!
Will is not too excited about the adventures. She's wet. She's tired of getting soaking wet. But
you might have heard of that tropical thing going on called Debbie. So we're gonna drive through that twice already. So we'll probably go through it at least two maybe four more times, depending on how fast it moves up the coast. But just some things to think about while you're driving in bad weather.
It is the beginning of hurricane season, and so it's really just beginning. So we figured we would go ahead and give you some tips and tricks and some driving information to keep you guys safe or safer on the roads. Since we have a couple days experience. I don't know, we have like over 45 years experience together. It's been a couple days.
Yeah, a couple.
Some of y'all say we look young.
Thank you.
But anyways, guys, so this storm is coming right up the East Coast. So we're going up and down. We are on a dedicated route. So it does help us evaluate the situation a little bit more than maybe if you're just going through it one time. But, you know, if you guys are getting the big picture, you're evaluating the situation around you, you too can pick up on these things. So we wanted to give some helpful tips. So right away, before we were even driving in the bad weather yesterday when we were going down the coast, it hadn't even been raining, I noticed that in the construction zone, there is probably 6 cranes that are doing bridge work through South Carolina on 95. And I noticed that all of the cranes were down and the construction zones really looked like abandoned little ghost towns for the work zones. They actually even brought in heavy haulering equipment and pulled out some of that heavy equipment with the scrapers and things like that, some of the equipment to do the blacktop, different things like that. So immediately I knew, wow, they're definitely looking at experiencing really bad weather, because not often do they actually take those cranes down unless the job's done.
What we can do as drivers to help ensure that we have safe travels. Number one, I would say, would be your windshield wipers. You got to be able to see where you're going. If you don't have good windshield wipers, you're not going to be able to see where you're going. A lot of people like to use the Rain-X on the windshield. I think it helps, but I just don't do it enough.
And another thing is, make sure your window is really clean. Make sure there's not like grease or any fluids that are stuck on your window, so that way it's just smearing the water across it and not actually giving you true transparency on your windshield. And an old school trick or hack is buy a can of Coke and dump it on your window. You've done that a couple times, huh?
Yeah.
It truly does work. So if it seems like there's a film on your window, seriously, go buy a Coke and dump some of it on your window, and then take a paper towel and wipe it clear. It really does make a big difference. Some people will put a little bit of Dawn dish soap in their washing solvent tank. That's another tip that can help. Don't put so much on that you have some suds going down the windshield.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah. Another tip though is, it's really easy now that we have smartphones.
Yeah.
Watch radar. Check
radar.
The radar channel.
Yeah, check it before you go into it.
This is how I do it. I'm like, oh my, it's raining, or it's snowing, or I don't know. I don't always check ahead.
Another tool that you can use is Sirius XM radio. A lot of times you have the weather channel on there that you can listen to, but ours will actually tell us if there's a severe weather threat in the area. And with tropical depressions, hurricanes, they also spawn tornadoes, so that's just something that you've got to think about. And last year when we were coming back up from Florida, the XM was giving us like report after report after report. There's a tornado in your area, and what'd she do? I gotta drive faster!
I'm not telling everybody to drive like me, but y'all, I know what I feel comfortable driving in. I am not going to put it, for us, it's beyond my own safety and the general public safety. If I do something like really dumb, it costs me my husband and my dog. Like, so I'll just know, like, I'm not going to put myself, like, if I am truly uncomfortable, I'm going to pull over and do something. But yeah, no. Do I keep driving sometimes when there's tornadoes? I do. Did we drive through the hurricane? Like, did I drive yesterday through it? And now the tropical storm? Yes, I have. Do I just put my seatbelt on and it's another day of work for me? yeah, that's what you get sometimes after 16 years of driving, like, and him even more. Like, it's another day. And honestly, I was like, hey, thank you for this hurricane weather because the roads are clear. Thank you for staying home, people.
A lot of people stayed home. So another thing you need to look at in severe weather conditions, especially rain, and is the wind. FMCSR states that 40 to 45 miles an hour, if that's hitting you like right in the side, is probably about where you want to start looking for some place to pull over. I know there's a bunch of bad people out there, you know, that can just
Super
go
truckers.
through all of it. Yeah, you can switch some letters around there too, but however you want to look at it. You know, I'll drive an 80-mile-an-hour winds. Well, that's just not smart, okay? That's not safe.
You gotta know your boundaries.
You gotta have an idea of when it gets to be too much for you to control.
Yeah, or if you're feeling, if it's really starting to affect you, and you're really starting to get freaked out, you know, honestly, like, with time, you will be able to do more and push yourself a little bit further, but don't push yourself so far, because really then it starts to affect your mind and your confidence, and it's gonna knock you down, and it's just not good for you mentally to endure that stuff, because whether you like it or not, your driving shift comes again tomorrow, and so you need to make sure that you're ready to start the day tomorrow. So don't over push yourself.
And driving in serious weather conditions is very stressful. So if you just need to pull over for 5 or 10 minutes and just breathe. I mean, because, you know, when stuff starts shaking and rocking and trailers start sliding, and, you know, just pull over and just calm down for a minute. Just chill out.
Yeah. Another one to be really mindful, especially with this storm in particular, is the water on the road. Again, if they're pulling heavy equipment out of the median, it's because they're expecting that median to probably flood. And so be very mindful. Just because you have a big truck does not mean you can drive through it, especially if you have a light load or empties. That just means now you just have a floating air pocket behind you, and it's just going to float on top of that water, and it's going to push you. But with a lot of cars on the road, they hydroplane so much easier, and so they come and they hit just even what looks like a small puddle, and it could really just throw them into the wall, throw them into you. So just be mindful the amount of water and how heavy it's raining. Definitely slow down, because when it's raining that heavy, it has no place to go but to start to puddle on the road. So
with this storm in particular, although the winds aren't that great now, there's still a lot of water that's coming down. There's a lot of places in Georgia that have seen over a foot of rain already and are expecting 6 to 8, 10 inches more. So that's going to cause flooding. You know, there were a couple of exits in South Carolina that were closed because they were flooded. They were underwater. So just keep your wits about you. Just know where you're going, know what you're doing, and if you start to get stressed out or overstimulated, yeah, just pull over and take a few minutes just to breathe, and
if you need to
kind
call
of check
it a day,
out what's going on.
That's okay too. Like, no load that you're pulling is ever worth your life or your sanity. So put yourself and your mind first. We do have a bunch of other videos on safety, driving tips and tricks. Some of them are severe weather, dealing with other storms, and so we never really present the same information twice completely. There might be some overlap, but all of our videos have a ton more. So check out that playlist to get you just more knowledge, and knowledge is power. And so have a safety plan of what you're going to do if that happens. Let's say if the tornado thing goes across Sirius XM, what are you going to do in that immediate situation? If you have a plan in advance, you're going to be able to think more clearly and act upon it to get yourself in a safe situation. So these are things that we talk about regularly. We have plans in place, and so you guys make some plans as well for yourself, whatever feels most comfortable to you.
So that being said too, and something I didn't mention earlier, whenever the XM will give you a notification, you're going to need to know where you're at. So kind of keep an eye on the exit signs, because it might give you a town or a county. So you kind of need to know where you're at versus where that storm is, or that circulation or tornado is too. So just keep that in mind too.
As always, stay safe and enjoy the adventures. You guys, another real quick. Next week, I will be on Sirius XM again, So be watching Facebook and Instagram for a post, because I'm going to need you guys to do a favor for me.
What's that?
I need them to call in on the show. So you guys, radio works a little bit different, and the way that you get your interview goes better is interaction during your interview. So it's a live interview with the radio show host KC. So it's on channel 146, and I think I'm going to be on at 1:15 Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. But again, follow Facebook and Instagram. But I need you guys to call in when you hear me on the radio. Light those lines up, because that means that you guys like what you hear, and they're watching to see who calls in while I'm on the radio. So
if you do call in, make sure you do it safely. Use that hands-free device. Okay.
Good point. All right, guys. Thank you in advance for helping me out. You guys be safe. Bye.
Bye.